Hi folks, HR Funk here. There's been a few times over the years where I have produced a video that I never intended to produce in the first place, and this is one of those times. And this is also somewhat coincidental because some of you have asked me during the course of the last year or so if I would review some Cyelee optics. And I didn't have any problem with doing that, but I just never had an opportunity. Well, recently I reviewed a Holosun 507K, which I had installed on this Cyelee Carry 1911 DS pistol. And if you saw the video that I produced after I mounted that sight, you know that I was having problems zeroing it because the pistol was hitting low with the Holosun sight, and that 507K did not have sufficient elevation for me to be able to correct and properly zero it at a distance of 25 yards. Well, as luck would have it, someone from Cyelee Optics saw that video and they contacted me in the comments section, and this led to a couple of emails back and forth, and voila, here I have a Cyelee Cat X Pro optic sight now mounted to the Carry DS pistol, and in this video I'm going to be reviewing the Cyelee sight, telling you how it's been performing for me and also some of the things that I've learned since I've been testing it. So here we go. So what I've learned recently about Cyelee Optics is the company was established in 2020 and they have a fairly extensive line of optics already, and I gotta say, starting a company of any sort in 2020 had to have been a challenge. Even so, as I said, they have a pretty extensive line, and their optics are what I would call budget-friendly or affordable optics. Even so, they seem to have a very good reputation. There have been a lot of quote-unquote torture tests that I've seen of the Cyelee optics since I have been looking into the Cat X Pro, and people have done all kinds of crazy things with them. They've thrown them off balconies, they've put them in hot tubs. There was one guy that froze one of these sites in a block of ice and then chipped the ice off and it was still working. And in every video torture test that I saw, even though the sight was sometimes damaged, it still continued to work. So I think these sights are sufficiently tough to be able to take whatever they're going to run into normally in day-to-day use as a handgun optic. And since I don't like to copy what other people have done, I'm not going to be doing any of the throwing off balconies, putting in swimming pools, dunking underwater, or anything else. If you want to see those videos, there's a ton of them out there. I'm more interested in how this performs as a sight. So I'm going to be talking about its features and functions and also my impressions of it when I went out and was shooting with it on the range. And here's our first up-close look at the Cyelee Cat X Pro. And I have to say right here at the beginning of the video, I'm not sure if the proper pronunciation of the name of this company is Cyelee or Cyelee. I've heard it pronounced both ways, but never by anyone who works for the company or otherwise would know for certain how to pronounce it. So you might hear me say Cyelee sometimes and Cyelee other times. I'll apologize now, but I don't know which one is correct. In any case, as you can see, it is already mounted to the Carry DS. And before I get into all the features and functions of the sight, let me show you the unboxing and also talk about the mounting process for this sight. And when you first open your Cyelee Cat X Pro, things fall out. You get an instruction card. You get zeroing information. You get a chart to show you exactly what the point of impact should be with the sight zeroed at different distances. Get a sticker. A lens cleaning cloth. The sight itself, which comes with a cover, and I'll see if I can get it out of there. Maybe I should say I'll see if I can get it out of there without throwing the sight across the room. There we go. There is the Cyelee Cat X Pro. There are also a variety of screws to help with mounting the sight to various different types of handguns. I'm not sure how many screws are in there, but there's a bunch of them. So chances are there's going to be screws that will work with your specific firearm. And you get a couple of wrenches to help with mounting. So all of that comes with your Cyelee Cat X Pro. So there's a quick look at all the screws that come with the optic, and each of these is marked So you can see with the screws inside, the size, the thread pitch, and it even shows you what wrench is appropriate for the screws in each of those little bags. The instructions for the Cyelee optic are more specific than any other optic I've ever seen in my life when it comes to tightening the screws to mount the sight to the handgun. According to the instructions, the screws need to first be tightened down just tight enough to where you feel resistance and then stop. You don't final tighten the screws at that point. Once you've reached that point, then you loosen each screw one full turn. Now you begin the final tightening process. The reason for this, according to Cyelee, is to ensure that the sight doesn't shift under recoil. You tighten the screws uniformly and you alternate back and forth. I'm going to be tightening these to 15 inch-pounds, and I'm going to turn each screw about a quarter of a turn and alternate back and forth as you're seeing me do until I reach that 15 inch-pound specification. This is somewhat like tightening lug nuts on your car. The screws did have Loctite applied from the factory, so that was nice. There's 15 inch-pounds on the right screw and 15 inch-pounds on the left screw. When it comes to the general characteristics of the Cyelee Cat X Pro, the body is manufactured from 70-75 aluminum, which seems to be the industry standard for optics these days. I can't remember the last time I saw anything manufactured with a different type of aluminum. Dimensionally, it is 1.6 inches in length, 1 inch high, 1 inch wide, and it weighs 1 ounce. So lots of ones there. The Cat X Pro is shockproof and waterproof to IPX7 standards. And also there are different variations of this sight, or maybe I should say Cyelee has different sights that all have the name Cat in them. There is the standard Cat version, which is configured somewhat differently. It has, instead of both buttons on one side, it has buttons on either side. It's available in either red or green illumination and has only a 3-minute of angle dot as a reticle option. And also there are fiber optics in the rear to use as an auxiliary sight if the optic would go down. There is the Cat Pro, which is identical to this one, except it's only available with red illumination and it has just the 3-minute of angle reticle. And the Cat X Pro, which is the one that I have here, is only available in red illumination, but it has the multi-reticle system, which I'll explain shortly. All of the Cat sights, to include the Cat X Pro, have a Shield RMSC or Holosun 507K footprint, so they fit the smaller carry-type pistols along with the Carry DS. And this is one of the reasons that I wanted to try this sight. Since I was not able to zero the 507K to begin with, I wanted to see if I could do it with this one. The Cat X Pro uses what Cyelee calls low tint glass, and the dimensions are 0.83 inches wide and 0.65 inches high. Interestingly, this is slightly different than the standard Cat model, which is a little bit higher but slightly narrower. So for whatever reasons, the dimensions were changed for the Cat X Pro. This optic features a side-mounted battery compartment that you can see here and functions on one CR1632 battery, and it has a battery life rated up to 50,000 hours. And there's a look through the lens to give you an idea as to the clarity of the glass, which to my eye looks pretty good. It might be just a little less clear than the Holosun, but still I think it compares very well. And here's a look at the reticle options. They are, as you can see here, a 3-minute of angle dot. There is also a 30-minute of angle circle. and the 30-minute of angle circle with the 3-minute of angle dot inside, which is my favorite one of the three. And the more that I use these circle dot reticles, the more that I like them. I know some people like the single dots, so it's nice with the sights that they're developing these days that give you the option as to which type of reticle you want to use. The control buttons for the Cat X Pro are located on the left side of the sight body, and these control a variety of different functions for the sight. Simply press and release either the top plus button or the bottom minus button, and that will power the sight on. To power the sight off, you press and hold the bottom minus button. The top plus button also allows you to cycle through those reticle options that I showed you a moment ago by pressing and holding the top plus button. When the sight is powered on, obviously, you can cycle through each one of those reticles. The control buttons also allow the shooter to cycle through the brightness settings. There are 10 brightness settings for this optic. The lower 2 are night vision compatible. The other 8 are for normal light conditions. Obviously, to make it brighter, simply press and release the plus button. To make it darker, press and release the minus button. I had this optic out on the range on a very sunny day, and it was easily bright enough to be able to see it, so I had no problems with the illumination level whatsoever. The Cat X Pro also has a lockout feature. By pressing and holding both buttons simultaneously, you can lock out the buttons, so whatever settings you have will store, and if the buttons are inadvertently pressed, they will not change those settings. To undo the lock feature, simply press and hold both buttons again, and I believe both times it's for a period of 4 seconds. That will both lock and unlock the sight. To aid with battery life, the Cat X Pro has a shake awake feature. After 4 minutes of sensing no movement, the sight will sleep, but the instant it senses any movement, it powers back on. And I did not have any problems when I was using it with a delay for the time that it took for the sight to power back on. I never was looking at a blank lens, so no issues with that whatsoever. In this view, you can see both the elevation and windage adjustment screws, and according to the Cyelee website, the Cat X Pro has an adjustment range of 40 minutes of angle, which is nice. That really helped me out when it came to zeroing this particular handgun from a distance of 25 yards. The Cat X Pro was able to accomplish that where the Holosun 507K could not. But I did have an issue with the adjustment screws. Once again, according to the Cyelee website, the adjustment screws are supposed to have 1 minute of angle clicks that are both tactile and audible. And I could not sense any clicks whatsoever, audible, tactile rather, by smell or through any other sense that I have. So it did require some trial and error, turning back and forth, trying to figure out just how far to move those screws to zero the optic from 25 yards. So the adjustment range was very nice, but I cannot say that the audible/tactile clicks were present. From this angle, you can see a slight groove in the rear of the body of the Cat X Pro, which can serve as an auxiliary emergency sight if for some reason you would remove the rear sight on your handgun. But with the Carry DS, it already has a very good lower 1/3 co-witness, so I have no plans on removing these sights whatsoever. So if you saw my recent review of the Holosun 507K and you were keeping score during this review, you can see that feature for feature, the Cat X Pro compares very well to the Holosun sight. Dimensionally, it is slightly larger. So on a carry handgun, that could potentially be an issue. The Holosun sight, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, is slightly lower and just a little bit more compact than the Cat X Pro. But it also lacked the elevation adjustment range that was necessary, at least for this handgun, in order to be able to zero it. The greater 40 minute of angle adjustment range of the Cat X Pro allowed me to get that proper 25-yard zero. Now, interestingly, when I mounted the Holosun 507K on my Masada 9S, I had no problem zeroing it from that distance of 25 yards. So there is some sort of an issue with the sight base on the Carry DS. But in any case, I was able to zero the Cat X Pro from that distance of 25 yards. So whatever the issue is correctable with the right optic. Now, I'm not going to go so far as to say that the Cyelee Cat X Pro is just as good as the Holosun 507K, I really don't know. The only way to determine that would be to use them both extensively for a long period of time and see which one ended up performing the best. What I will say is that it compares very favorably to the Holosun 507K, and it is priced significantly lower. The MSRP for the Cat X Pro is $235 on their website, and there are several discount codes out there, and if you look around a little bit, you can find this site for significantly less than that. In fact, you can find it for well under $200 with just a little bit of shopping. And that's going to do it for my review of the Cyelee Cat X Pro site. If you have any questions or comments about this video, as always, make sure you forward those to me. Remember, if you purchase anything from Optics Planet, be sure to use my discount code, which is... And if you use that discount code, it's good for 7% off your purchase from Optics Planet. Also, remember House of Pain. You can go to House of Pain Armament or House of Pain Munition, and with either one, you can use my discount code there, which is HRFunk, and that'll save you some money off your purchase from House of Pain. And last but not least, don't forget the Target sponsor. Go to Target's online, check out their inventory, and see if they have anything that's going to meet your Target needs. See you next time, folks. And until then, good shooting. Bye-bye.